Regrets is CBS. Welcome home! Sorry!
48 hours. We take you there. You're about to see a child abducted.
Do you have your handcuffs?
Paul's own mother arranged it.
He's failing school.
Who are you?
He just lost a job because of drug use.
It could be a year before he speaks to his family again.
We're going out this way.
Harold Dow reports.
To have strangers come in the middle of the night, take him away. Extreme?
Yeah.
This is where Paul is now, Samoa. Aaron Moriarty has television's first look inside Paradise Cove. It is, in fact, anything but.
This is our observation area.
A child sits in here? That's kind of scary.
You've never seen a school like this.
I saw kids beat. I heard the screams of kids who were being beat. Everything the program does breaks the kids.
But it's a last chance for kids like Eddie.
He became very violent.
Were you afraid of Eddie?
Extremely afraid.
Kirsten's parents were desperate, too, when they sent her to Jamaica.
I can't have you on the street endangering your life.
But now they're pulling her out of the program. Susan Spencer reports.
Is it your concern Kirsten's change in behavior is the result of some sort of mind control?
What will they find when they bring Kirsten home? Tough love. What if it works?
Dial 118, please.
I'm Dan Rather, and this is 48 Hours. You're doing everything you can to keep your kids on the straight and narrow, out of harm's way, to know where they are, who they're with, and what they're doing. But still, your kids keep finding trouble. You worry that one day your child might not come home at all. So now, what do you do? Good evening. You're about to see something extraordinary. A first-time look at a program some parents say is the last best hope to save their children. Not exactly a school, not really a camp either. This is a grueling regimen of tough love, far removed from a teenager's familiar haunts and habits. It's an approach that's not without its critics. How tough is too tough when parents are desperate and a child's life may already be at risk? In the next 48 hours, you will witness an incredible journey. As Harold Down shows us, often it begins in darkness with a very rude awakening.
It's the middle of the night.
Do you have your handcuffs?
I do.
And these people, known as transporters, have been hired to sneak into this home and seize a 16-year-old named Paul.
Who are you?
Get out of my room.
We'll let you know.
Get out of my room so I can talk to my mom.
What's going on? We need you to get up and get dressed.
Why are you guys here at 5 in the morning?
Paul doesn't know it yet, but he's about to be taken from his home in Hawaii to a place almost 3,000 miles away.
So I don't take anything?
No, they can't.
Oh, no, you'll have stuff.
And it could be more than a year before he sees or speaks to his family.
Why are you all in here?
It's difficult as a mother to see and hear a son in pain.
Maybe so, but guess who hired these transporters to take Paul so far away? Paul's mother.
He is committed to not being responsible to anyone or anything, any authority, and specifically to me.
Janet Denny says her son is using drugs, and she's now afraid of him.
Failing school, he just lost a job because of drug use at the workplace, so it's a real downhill spiral.
Anything that you need to know, I'll let you know in the car.
After trying therapy, special programs, and new schools,
I know intellectually I've done everything I could.
Denny, a single working mother, is at the end of her rope.
There's a huge sense of failure.
So she's sending her son away.
What I long for my son to be is a healthy, productive adult.
To a behavior modification school.
You know what? You're not going to need your pager.
And these transporters are paid to keep a close eye on Paul until he gets there. In fact, when Paul makes an unexpected move, The transporters rush to surround him. To have strangers come in the middle of the night, wake your son up, take him away. Extreme?
Yeah, well, it feels extreme, but it also is the most hopeful I've felt for about a year.
We're going out this way. Just a second. Just real quickly, like I said, procedure. We're going to have to hold your arms to the car. The car is the only time that we have to do it, anything like that.
He's going to hold this against me. Are you worried about that?
No. I know this is the son I raised. And I know he loves me. But he certainly can't get to that now. And they've offered me the promise that he can, and he will. And I'm holding on to that.
Destination halfway around the world on the tiny Pacific island of Samoa. It's a place so far and so inaccessible that few parents ever get to see it for themselves. Until now. While we were not allowed to see or talk to Paul, 48 Hours is the first television crew permitted to visit the school. We were asked to conceal the kids' identity.
This is it.
This is Paradise Cove.
Brian Biafanua is the owner and director of Paradise Cove, but don't let the name fool you. This is anything but paradise to the nearly 300 American boys sent by their parents to live here.
This has got to be culture shock for these kids.
Absolutely.
While a few of the teens are here simply for talking back to parents, most were using illegal drugs, failing in school, and running away from home.
I was living on the streets. My parents had hired, like, a private investigator to come find me. And
Paradise Cove is a male-only school that, despite the tropical dress...
What is this?
It's called a lava lava.
...operates a lot like a boot camp.
This is their living quarters.
They sleep here?
Each student here in the program is given a mat. This is a Samoan mat. Not like home, is it? Is it better than home?
This is not like home. This could get a little hard after a while.
That's exactly the point.
No talking when you come in.
This is a behavior modification program that's notable for what it doesn't offer its students.
This is the laundry facility. This is how they wash their clothes, wash their bed clothes.
This is how we do it here.
It looks like there's only one temperature of water.
There is. There is.
Cold?
It's cold water.
So how's lunch?
It's good. Good.
Meals here make school cafeteria food look good.
This is nothing close to what the boys are accustomed to. Does it put a student out of his comfort zone? Absolutely.
And the rigid daily schedule is no picnic either.
Let us try not to be slack today, okay?
Yeah. The boys follow a very strict schedule of chores, exercise, educational videos, and school, all without ever leaving this tiny stretch of beach.
There's no idle time here. Kids are on the go. Kids are encouraged to create some solid habits.
What about you guys? What's the hardest thing about being here?
I think the hardest thing for me was making sure I had permission before I asked anybody a question.
What about just going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you have to ask permission just to go to the bathroom?
You have to have somebody watch you.
The school operates on a level system.
So I can see you're wearing the yellow. That means what, level 1?
Yeah.
Students graduate the program when they complete 6 levels.
And what is the blue?
Level 2.
By following the long list of rules, students earn points, move to higher levels.
And what about the red?
Level 3.
And gain privileges, such as finally being allowed to call home.
So when's the last time you talked to your parents?
Last month. But I waited 7 months before I earned the privilege. It's awesome talking to your parents. It's like a dream come true.
It's this kind of comment
Teen Up Adolescent Resources may help you.
The parents can only dream of.
Has he ever talked to you about suicide before?
When they make their first desperate call for help.
Any traumas in the family, any divorce issues, or...
It all starts here in St. George, Utah, headquarters of a company called the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs. It's an umbrella organization for Paradise Cove and 5 other independently owned schools located around the world.
Jeff, may I have the 5:30 head count, please?
Other schools are in Utah,
Down, up, two, down, up,
Montana,
down, up.
Jamaica, Mexico, and the Czech Republic. Combined, these for-profit schools house almost 1,000 American boys and girls.
These are all the different schools and all the different time zones.
Correct.
Carr Farnsworth is president of the company.
Our programs are longer term. The quick fix doesn't do it. So we want the kids in the program for a minimum of a year. Some kids stay longer.
That's a year or more. These kids don't see their families.
Can you guys tell me how long you've all been here? Just kind of go around.
13 months. 17, 22 months. I've been here for 20.
Many of the kids we get have already been in therapy at home. Have already told the parents to shove it. And so there needs to be a period of time where the kid works on themselves, gets in a place where they're ready to make change, where they're ready to work with the family.
Let's do a little bit of running.
None of what you have seen so far in these programs may seem controversial until you hear just how much parents are paying. Anywhere from $30,000 to $42,000 a year.
I mean, is this what passes for the library? Is this about it?
This is part of it, yeah.
And for a school that costs as much as an Ivy League education, here's what you get.
Kids are given an opportunity to work at their own pace.
The students teach themselves their high school courses.
We have teachers, tutors here to assist them.
So you don't have American certified teachers here working with these kids?
We do not. I feel it's important for the student to take on a majority of the responsibility to move ahead with their academics.
But academics is not the big priority here.
I wouldn't say it's the #1 priority here in Samoa.
About now, you have to be asking the same question we are.
Parents spend nearly $30,000 a year to send their child here, and I'm trying to figure out where that money goes. I mean, it's obviously not going for food. I mean, it's not going for housing. You're not paying teachers. I just don't see it in the camp. Where is it going?
I can get into a long spill here, you know, but boy, it's expensive to run a business.
Obviously uncomfortable with the topic, Brian would only say the school is profitable.
What is this, Brian?
This is our observation area.
When we come back, discipline at Paradise Cove. A first-time ever look at the box.
At first they hogtied us.
And the students who say they were abused there.
I was left in handcuffs for about 2.5 days straight.
We ease life's pressures. We help make lives more memorable. We're the people of Pfizer. We develop medicines that make the world a better place. We help people love one another. We help keep families strong. We take care of best friends. We spend over $2 billion a year on research. That's why we believe we'll introduce more new medicines for more diseases than anyone else. At Pfizer, we're not just looking for cures for the future. We're going to find them. We know in our hearts the only thing incurable is our passion. Pfizer, life is our life's work.
Let the children come. Let your mothers hear you laugh.
From the Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Toni Morrison.
Let the grown men come.
We can make a life, girl.
Let your wives see you dead.
And Jonathan Demme, the Academy Award-winning director of The Silence of the Lambs. I will never let you go. Oprah Winfrey. Danny Glover. Beloved. Rated R. Starts tomorrow.
You know, Joe's the kind of guy whose hands are always dirty, no matter how deep the scrub. You see, his hands are his livelihood. Rarely ever see any time off. His hands are strong, steady and sure. The kind of hands that could only grip the wheel of a truck. Of course, that truck is a Ford F-Series with a more powerful Triton engine and 50 years of toughness. You might say it fits Joe's hands like a glove. Not that he'd ever wear any.
Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
Introducing Mood Mender natural herbal supplements with St. John's wort from Celestial Seasonings.
Need brakes? Come to Midas for a break on brakes. Now just $69.95 after rebate. You'll get our standard brake service and our lifetime guarantee. Midas' $69.95 brakes. It's worth stopping for.
CBS Monday. Dr. Evan Newman is about to get the shock of his life.
I thought I had a lump on my breast.
His ex-wife may have cancer.
I think Mom's sick.
And the doctor she's chosen to save her life isn't him. Give her some time. And all new LA doctors.
Samoa is the perfect place for boys to sort out their lives and make their beginning.
The Paradise Cove, pictured in a promotional video, is not the Paradise Cove these teens remember.
Students participate in an extremely progressive academic program.
What's your reaction when you see the promotional video?
Not very accurate.
All of them admit they came to the school with problems.
What were you doing before you went to Paradise Cove?
Just partying all the time. Not doing good in school, getting kicked out of school. Smoking bud, drinking beer. Running with gangs. Taking LSD, you know.
But none of them were quite prepared for what they found at Paradise Cove. Like this rough wooden structure that you won't see anywhere in the video.
What is this, Brian?
This is our observation area.
Director Brian Biafanua calls it observation.
We were all put in isolation.
The boys call it isolation.
A child sits in here by himself?
Yeah.
Either way, it's the king of punishments at Paradise Cove.
But what's the longest somebody could stay in here?
It could be days, but bear in mind, a kid is in here, there's a personal timeout, he's being coached, he's being followed up on.
This looks a little drastic to me. I mean, do you ever close up kids in like this?
Rarely.
That's kind of scary.
It's a place for him and the staff to be one-on-one.
They strip us down to our boxers.
2 years ago, Sergio Alva found himself in the box after he tried to run away with 3 friends. He was 15 years old.
At first, they hogtied us.
And when you say hogtied, what did that mean? What did they do to you?
They tell you lay down on your stomach, and you put your hands behind your back, like that, and they handcuff your hands, or they'll duct tape them, whatever they have.
What did they have with you?
Handcuffs. And then they'll put shackles around your feet, and they'll connect your feet and your hands together to your back.
How long straight would you be left in handcuffs?
I was left in handcuffs for about 2.5 days straight.
But he was actually hogtied, that his hands and feet were put behind him, and he was left that way for a while.
I can't even validate that for you.
I mean, you gonna tell me that's never happened?
I'm going to tell you that's never
Because
happened.
I've heard that from kids.
This is my response, Aaron.
One of my friends was thirsty, so he was asking for water, and they said that he was making too much noise. So they got the duct tape, and they duct taped his mouth.
Put duct tape across your mouth.
So you can't talk. And then they did all 3 of us.
Do you still use duct tape on kids' mouth to keep them quiet?
We don't, that's not accepted here, duct tape.
But it's been done.
1, maybe 2, early in the stages here of this program.
And one of the chaperones punched me right in my lip.
I got hit like pretty hard on my back.
He actually hit me right here.
We've had staff members, not necessarily punch kids, but we've had staff members that are stepping outside of our boundaries, of our policies. And it's not tolerated here.
There's another fact of life at Paradise Cove you won't see on video.
Now, did I hear you guys correctly before? Were you talking about scabies?
Scabies.
And how many of you guys have scabies?
Mostly everyone. Everybody has scabies.
Various skin rashes and inflammations are a common sight.
Scabies, ringworm, lice.
You get boils.
Because you don't take hot showers.
We haven't found that to be a big alarming issue.
What is an alarming issue, some students say, is the risk to mental health.
You're really alone there. You don't have people to talk to.
In fact, at Paradise Cove, there are no licensed therapists.
This program is clearly non-therapeutical.
And the only consistent therapy
I feel like I have a good relationship with my father.
is what the kids offer each other with the help of a staff member.
No, every day is a evaluating day. So kind of sit back and evaluate yourself, see how good you've done.
You get kids here with serious mental health issues. You don't have therapists here. You don't have counselors here. How do you deal with a really troubled child? And you do have them here.
If we're not a safe program for a young student, that's top priority here, we make recommendations to the parents. And we allow the parents to make that decision.
Okay, 3. In the meantime, there's no shortage of medication for troubled students.
That's 500 milligrams.
Prescribed by a psychiatrist who visits the school only once every 6 weeks.
Okay, next one.
I didn't even talk to him the first time. He looked through some papers and he said, well, we're going to put you on Ritalin. And that was it.
You hadn't even talked to him, and he told you he's putting you on Ritalin.
Okay, next.
I saw an awful lot of kids in that line for medication. I mean, how many kids are on antidepressants and Ritalin and drugs like that?
Definitely less than half of the students, but we have a history of being able to send kids home off medications.
But most important, says the director of Paradise Cove,
Hey guys, how we doing?
kids go home with a new appreciation for their families.
Finishing your meal, Samoan style. Kids become very resourceful, and you know the attitudes change. What's up?
Watching the sunset.
All right. Kids leave with a better sense of appreciation.
And at times, Brian Villafanua becomes downright emotional about it.
I've been raised to honor my family. And that's what goes on here. I see kids that are happy. I see kids that want to be a part of mom and dad's life.
You see big changes in kids.
I do, and I have. And I will continue to see that.
In fact, the very same team so critical of Paradise Cove admit their experience at school has left a mark.
You're out of gangs, you're not using drugs. Somebody could look at you and say, hey, Paradise Cove seemed to work for you guys.
You could say that.
Do you think it worked for you?
Parts of it.
I'm glad I went there.
Why?
Something had to happen, like, because my life was going nowhere, and I just knew it.
But Sergio Alva's lasting impressions of Paradise Cove haunt him still.
Yeah, I dream about it, but most of my dreams were about when I was in isolation, when I was hogtied. And I'll wake up sometimes sweating and crying and stuff, thinking that I was still locked, like, tied up in the room by myself.
You dream about that now?
I still dream about it.
Next,
He was capable of inflicting physical harm.
they sent their son to Paradise Cove.
I just want them to know how dangerous this is.
Now, the neighbors are fighting to bring him home.
Wonderful kid. He was wonderful around my children.
Who has the right to decide Paul's fate?
Come home soon.
He pioneered surgery that many thought impossible. I'm Harold Dow, CBS News, with tonight's Person of the Century.
Sponsored by Jeep, makers of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Wrangler.
They say technology gives you the freedom to experience the world, especially when it's so affordable. Like Jeep Cherokee Sport. With air, power windows and locks, and remote keyless entry at no extra charge. Cherokee Sport. Now that's a cool way to access the sights you see online.
Dr. Christian Bernard put the heart of a female accident victim into a male cardiac patient, the first heart transplant. The man died 19 days later, but the operation changed medicine forever. Dr. Christian Bernard, one of the most important people of the century. 48 Hours will return.
Right now, you can get a complete pair of great-looking glasses for only $99 at LensCrafters, in your choice of hundreds of the latest frame styles.
LensCrafters $99 complete pair sale.
This is a great offer. People should definitely not miss this.
Hurry, offer ends soon.
I swim every day, then blow dry. It's tough on my hair.
Alberto VO5 hot oil once a week strengthens hair up to 60%. Nothing works like VO5 hot oil. It dramatically revitalizes hair.
Imagine what it can do for yours.
You always do better on menswear at Burlington Coat Factory.
I can get 2 suits for the price of what I'd normally pay for 1 suit elsewhere.
I love it here. It's a great savings. I find the designers and the labels that I like at a much better price than department stores. You don't have to spend a lot of money to look good here. Any designer that you need is here.
I can get any kind of style I want. I get my money's worth at Burlington Coat Factory.
Burlington Coat Factory, we're more than great coats.
The last meal. Ketchup and mustard. I requested paste picante sauce.
Paste picante?
Oh, if I was a free man, I'd squeeze paste on all kinds of food.
The taste makes life worth living. Paste adds a down-home flavor to every meal, from your first to your last.
We don't got no paste picante.
Well, then I ain't staying here.
See you tomorrow, Bob.
Pour on the paste, now in a new squeeze bottle.
It was a scene of carnage. 19 family members dragged out of bed and machine-gunned to death. One of the worst crimes in Mexico's history. But if you think this is just Mexico's problem, wait till you see who may have carried out these vicious murders. Eye on America investigates tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Roots was the most watched miniseries of all time. Now, Alex Haley's final masterpiece will make history again. Mama Flora's Family, CBS November 8th.
We're going to go paint this enormous rock that's been used for about 30 years here as a billboard. It's going to be for Paul's Day.
The Paul his friends and neighbors are rallying around is 16-year-old Paul Richards.
Straight A student, didn't do drugs at all, nothing like that. Played basketball, sports. Everybody looks at him, he looks at a good kid.
But Paul's parents had him seized
just to disappear in the middle of the night. Alarmed us all.
And whisked off to the program in Samoa more than a year ago.
Can you guys see it?
Best friend, and I've known him since kindergarten.
Like another member of our family. I mean, we took him on our family trip.
Miss him.
Yes, head back. And now, these outraged neighbors in Snohomish, Washington, are fighting to get him out.
Come home soon.
I'm Lori Berg, and I've known Paul for about 3 years. I met him when he came to babysit my children.
Spearheading the effort?
Wonderful kid. He was wonderful around my children.
Lori Berg.
How do you, as a neighbor, presume to know this kid better than his own parents do?
I don't know that I presume to know him better, but I do believe that he had rights.
And she fears for Paul's safety.
What is all this stuff?
She's been gathering information about the Samoa program.
What I found on my search for Paul's situation.
And talking to kids who've been there.
Everything the program does breaks the kids into submission.
Kids like 17-year-old Stan Gould.
I was covered with boils while I was over there.
Whose story convinced her to act.
I was not beaten. I saw kids beat. I heard the screams of kids who were being beat.
He said it was known that the staff possessed a cattle prod, a taser, handcuffs, leg cuffs, and a straitjacket. He says he has recurring nightmares. He says
we all, as neighbors, have the right to watch out for the welfare of each other, just for starters, and that includes kids.
Snohomish County Child Advocate Bill France says the danger is that parents who have their kids seized and sent away may be violating their child's civil rights.
But there has to be a sanctioned authority that goes through certain steps to be sure that it's not just somebody doing it because they're angry or afraid.
28 rules that he specifically had to go by.
Jerry Smith, the father of Paul's best friend, thinks that the real problem is not Paul, but his overly strict parents.
He needed permission to turn the TV on, permission to use a computer, permission to use the phone.
Smith does admit that Paul was capable of losing his temper.
Paul broke a windshield out of a car and just out of anger, frustration, walked out the door, picked the bat up, and busted the windshield.
They have injected themselves into our lives, and that kind of behavior is unconscionable.
Bruce Richards is an engineer. His wife, Karen, an occupational therapist. They don't deny Paul had rules. They say he needed them.
They think they know him very well.
That's exactly the point. They think they know him very well, but they haven't lived with him his entire life. They haven't seen and experienced the other side of him.
Did you feel like you'd completely lost control of him?
Definitely.
The Richards say they had no choice but to turn Paul over to a program they knew was tough.
We felt as though if we didn't take some kind of intervention that the next one might be an irrevocable event.
So they signed a contract like this one, which even authorized the use of force if necessary. A revised contract today leaves out the unpleasant specifics.
When I signed that part of the contract, I was thankful to see that there was some way that the staff could be protected. I can tell you he was capable of inflicting physical harm as well as property damage.
We have good social reasons to be concerned that parents are abusing their kids if they're willing to sign a contract which gives other people the right to abuse their kids. That's abusive on the face of it, unless we know for sure that there's oversight and that those people aren't abusing the kid, or that the kid got there by some kind of due process.
I can assure you that we have not made an inappropriate decision for Paul.
I don't see your van.
Not so, says Lori Bird.
We all decided to sign on as petitioners. You need to sign right there.
She's filed a petition to take custody away from his parents, to make Paul a ward of the state so he can come home.
What basis do you cite in here to justify a move as drastic as that?
They've refused to parent him, although they have an ability to do so. That he's been abused or neglected.
Today, the neighbors will meet the Richards in court for a hearing on the alleged abuse.
When I see the Richards, I'm sure that there will be anger in their eyes towards me, and I'm sorry for that.
Just minutes later,
I love my son and I miss him a lot.
The judge rules there are, quote, no sufficient credible facts, unquote, that Paul is in danger. She dismisses the entire case.
I'm very sad for Paul.
Leaving the worried neighbors with only their determination to somehow fight on.
Still to come, they were convinced it was their daughter's only hope. Now, they're pulling her out of the program.
Is it your concern Kirsten's change in behavior is the result of some sort of mind control?
What will they find when they bring Kirsten home?
Because of our passion for design and engineering, our vehicles speak for themselves. And recently, others have had some great things to say about our quality, too. Sebring Convertible, Total Quality Award. Town & Country, Total Quality Award. Cirrus, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Concorde, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Hey, don't say a word. I just called to tell you I love you.
Sprint introduces short calls free.
I know we live miles apart, but I just can't get you out of my mind.
Now, when you switch to a dime anytime, a quick hello or getting someone's answering machine is on us.
Not that I need to know, but how do you feel?
Tingly all over. That goes for wrong numbers as well. Get calls under 30 seconds free when you sign up for Sprint Sense anytime. Call 1-800-PIN-DROP and put time on your side.
Paul Richards and Paul Denning, both seized in the night, now half a world away. When 48 Hours continues, we'll tell you how they're doing.
I'm Jane Robileau. Tomorrow on This Morning, prepaid calling cards. They're easy and they can save you a lot of money, but we'll tell you why they can also cost you.
And on the evening news, who massacred 19 family members in Ensenada, Mexico recently, and why? Tomorrow, some surprising developments in one of Mexico's bloodiest crimes.
Tonight on Dave, the semi-retired Jerry Seinfeld. Who wants a job? Then the stagehands do Oprah.
Work it. Work that. Exactly.
Tonight on Dave. Friday, to solve a kidnapping, TV's coolest private eye will get help from the CBS sports team.
Now you're getting jiggy with it. Does anybody speak English anymore?
All new Buddy Farrell. Then Don and Cheech race to save an innocent man, but one obstacle.
I am not going to stop every 10 minutes for you to piddle.
Could be Cheech's new water diet. All new MASH after Buddy Farrell's CBS Friday.
The address is CBS.
Welcome home. Good evening, I'm Linda McLennan.
And I'm Lester Holt. Tonight on News 2 Chicago at 10, Leonard Clark's mother reacts after her son's attacker is sent to prison.
I have justice. Wanda?
More on the justice handed out tonight of the beating of Leonard Clark. Plus,
I feel vindicated because I felt like someone was trying to attack my integrity.
Michael Jordan wins the case in court and some money, too.
In other news tonight, we'll tell you about some Chicago vigilantes. A little girl is assaulted and neighbors beat the suspect unconscious. And the city says a fallen cop will never be forgotten. See you at 10.
Come with us on a magic voyage. Filled with enchantment, fantasy, and wondrous surprises. A magic voyage that begins with a Walt Disney World vacation, then sails to our own private island in the Bahamas. Disney Cruise Line. Call and discover uncharted magic.
Victoria's cool, Victoria's hot. This lady's got style no one else has got. Come out for a walk, she'll bring out a smile like no one else can. She's more than a cut above all the rest. Come on, live it up, won't you be her again? Victoria's grand.
For the time of your life, anytime you want, come to the Grand Victoria Casino.
She's number one for a reason.
Victoria's grand.
Drugs were the main thing for me. Like,
I was doing drugs every day.
Yeah, I was very violent. I was really violent.
I'd given up on myself. I didn't care if I lived or died.
Problem. I used a lot of marijuana. I attempted suicide.
We had already tried everything we could. We were getting no help from anyone.
It was an absolute fight for my son's life.
She isn't going to take responsibility for her life. And I'm her parent who loves her. Then it's up to me to exercise my rights and to say, I want to save my kid's life.
A matter of life and death, nothing less. For a lot of the kids sent to these no-nonsense programs far from home, other attempts to help them, such as counseling and drug treatment, have already failed. Their desperate parents don't seem all that worried that such programs often face little regulation. In truth, overseas, they're not even subject to U.S. laws. Still, there are times when the more parents learn about what's really going on, the more suspicious they become, as in the case of one couple who set out on an emotional overseas rescue of their daughter. Here's Susan Spencer.
After a few months at Tranquility Bay in Jamaica,
You tell them they have 10 seconds to come out.
even once tough kids are following all the rules. Going along to get along.
Why is she putting her hand up?
Because she wants to be acknowledged by staff to move.
To leave the table?
To leave the table.
So this is where everybody lives.
This is where some of the students live.
Owner and director of the program,
These actually fold down into beds.
28-year-old J.K.
Let's go, fellas.
Kay ran gas stations and was a hospital administrator before he came to Tranquility Bay. Today, he's a true believer.
Some of these kids will never have this opportunity again. I mean, think about it. You go to school in a foreign country.
But the program's most impressive aspect, boasts Kay, is the Emotional Growth Seminar.
Like every time I think about seminar, I feel better.
Which creates profound behavior turnarounds.
Clearly, the cornerstone of the programs is the seminars. That is really the driving force and motivating factor behind kids making changes.
Maestro.
Each child must complete 4 intensive 3-day seminars to graduate. So what exactly happens in these seminars?
Very confrontive. It's very feedback-oriented.
We weren't allowed inside, but graduates say 15-hour days of raw emotion can be so brutal that some kids drop out and have to try again. Meanwhile, back at home,
be on time. Be seated by the time the music ends.
parents are urged to attend 2 weekend seminars of their own.
We deal with the whole family.
To illustrate what happens, Director David Gilcrease staged a session for our benefit with graduates of the program. Remember encounter groups? The techniques are similar.
I need to give more.
Need to put out more.
I need to put out more, and I feel like,
Need to be better. How does it feel right now?
well, it feels hard.
Even our staged seminar got emotional.
And I feel inadequate.
No surprise to Karen and Kendall Bean. They were at wit's end before they sent their 16-year-old daughter to the Jamaica program.
I said, I may not agree with all the things in this program, with these programs, but basically, I can't have you on the street endangering your life.
Kirsten, a chronic runaway, had lived on the streets almost a year before her desperate parents took action.
Kirsten had been drinking a 12-pack of beer a day. She was hooked on alcohol.
So they put their faith in the program. But the Beans had a drastic change of heart after attending the parent seminar.
I wanted to have made a difference. I wanted to,
It's okay.
I didn't want to just be sucking air.
If you don't
We gotta stop this, okay? This was similar to what we experienced, and this is offensive to me.
So offensive that the Beans walked out of the seminar after just one day.
These are the letters from Kirsten.
And when they got home, they took a second look at some of Kirsten's letters.
There was a dramatic change that occurred in Kirsten around the 3rd month. It seems like she's totally been converted into a different person.
Is it your concern that Kirsten's change in behavior is the result of some sort of mind control?
Right, and of course the media term is brainwashing. You ready to go, hon?
Mm-hmm. So now, 10 months after putting their daughter Kirsten in,
These are the air tickets.
they're going to Jamaica to take her out.
What's happening to my child? I mean, I really want to know.
After an all-day flight from their home outside of San Francisco and a 4-hour drive to the south coast of Jamaica, the moment arrives, recorded on the Beans home video.
Last time I saw Mom, no, we didn't even have that. We didn't even have that.
And to her parents' relief, Kirsten seems happier than they've seen her in years.
Here we go, freedom at last. Freedom to look at boys.
Hey.
Freedom.
Go away. Go away. Come on, Dad.
It's over now. You're going to be back in the real world.
Yeah.
Are you scared?
Yeah, there's fear. There's fear involved in everything. But I'm ready to conquer. I'm ready to, like, accept those challenges and just go and, like, make something of my life.
You were both really concerned that they would do something to her that would fundamentally change her, who she was. How do you feel about that now?
Well, I feel like the returns aren't all in yet, you know.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure because, you know, like I say, it's not black and white. There are a lot of good things I feel they did.
It definitely worked for me, but I made it work for me as like a tool.
For many people, it's a wonderfully positive experience.
But, says psychiatrist Gary Glass, these programs can put some kids at risk.
We can make automatons out of most children simply by punishing them anytime they do something wrong. For some, it will be terribly, terribly dangerous.
Especially kids with serious psychological problems.
They presume that everybody is of sound mind and that people don't have horrible previous life experiences. They will use the same programs on each of these people, irrespective of their background, their experience, their dilemmas, or what's going on.
Glass has never visited these programs, but he's familiar with their behavior modification techniques.
I think the dilemma is that while you can modify the child's behavior and structure the behavior, that for many of these people, by breaking their spirit, you're going to create an incredible sense of anger and resentment that may not come out for many years.
I think it depends on where you are, who you are, what space you are. It doesn't work for everybody. It's not like one size fits all.
Maybe not.
Our dear Father in heaven.
But what's important to the Beans is that they have their daughter back.
Our family feels complete, and that's really a wonderful feeling.
just ahead.
He became very violent.
Were you afraid of Eddie?
Extremely afraid of him.
I do a lot of drugs, live on the streets.
A remarkable transformation.
I'm a powerful, fun-loving, spiritual young man.
I can help you plan ahead and make sure you have money for things like kids' education.
That's fantastic. But I was thinking about starting my own business.
As a matter of fact, that's part of the plan, too. Now, here's the best part. Guaranteed income for you and Meg to retire in style.
AXA, dynamic vision, Equitable, a trusted resource. Call us. Equitable is a member of the global AXA group.
Can you guess whose parents drive a Nissan Altima?
Hi, Mom. Buddy?
The remarkably quiet Nissan Altima. Enjoy the ride.
Right now, get $1,000 cash back on the purchase of any '99 Nissan Altima.
My cousin knew this guy who drove a cement truck. This dude was as jealous as they come, right? So he decides to go home and check on his wife. But when he drives up, he sees this classic car in the driveway and some guy in his kitchen. No, really. So he backs up his truck, full load of wet mix right down the chute. But the real surprise was...
Honey, this is the car dealer. He just dropped off your birthday present. Surprise.
Get your kids.
Dang it, Dan!
On Route 66.
Now at Kmart.
On America's Night of Heroes, a terrorist threat forces the guy who gets tomorrow's news into uniform.
Do you have any idea what happens to someone impersonating an officer?
But how do you stop an A-bomb from jail? Early edition. And are you sick of the same old TV dramas? Sammo Hung has the cure. All new martial law, then an industrial polluter.
Not seeing anyone.
He'll see us. Comes down on the fighting side.
Better tread lightly, Ranger.
Of Walker.
I'm gonna tread right over you.
On America's Night of Heroes, CBS Saturday.
The address is CBS. Welcome home!
Wake up, Chicago, to News 2 Chicago's Marianne Childers and Jay Levine. They bring a whole new meaning to the term team coverage. Marianne and Jay, weekday mornings only on News 2 Chicago This Morning. Take another look. A lot of stars, a lot of laughs. In Hollywood Square on CBS 2 Chicago, we're watching Whoopi.
Remember that whole back to basics movement? Neither do we. Lincoln Town Car. What a luxury car should be.
Your money. Investing it should get you somewhere. So you put your money in mutual funds. How do they invest it? At Janus, they dig deep. They like to visit the company before they buy the stock. They interview customers, suppliers, employees. Looking that closely turns up the most promising places to invest your money. That's how you get there. Janus Mutual Funds.
In the case of the superstar versus the movie company, the verdict is in. Details at 10.
Oh, baby, you know what I like.
It feels really good to, know that we come that far.
Today marks a milestone in the life of Eddie Bueno.
Yeah,
It's been a cool day. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, dear Eddie. That's 10 times today.
But there's more for Eddie to celebrate than just his 18th birthday. After almost 2 years at a behavior modification school, Eddie Bueno is finally going home.
It's going to be quite a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm ready for it.
Eddie spent his first 16 months at Paradise Cove in Samoa.
Going to Samoa was a big shock for me. I was scared. I felt really small, really alone.
Now he is here, Spring Creek Lodge, deep in the mountains of Montana, where he'll complete the final phase of the program before returning to his San Francisco home.
What's the difference between Paradise Cove and Samoa and Spring Creek?
Samoa, it's more shock therapy. It's like, hey, wake up. Here it's like coaching and fine-tuning after Samoa.
I was a drug addict. I was an alcoholic.
Like hang out in the ghetto.
I was biggest fake, liar, fraud. They help you get in touch with who you are.
You know, basically what I really wanted to be was a bum. I didn't want to be with myself.
A lot of emotion doing this.
A lot of emotion. Definitely a lot of emotion. But I mean, it's a lot of love.
We all need somebody to lead us.
I think that's the biggest thing you learn in the program is how to communicate.
Communication wasn't always one of Eddie's strong points.
Who was Eddie Bueno?
I did a lot of drugs. I smoked a lot of pot and did mushrooms and LSD every once in a while. Lived on the streets. I ran away from home a couple times. I know I wasn't a very good kid. I walked all over my mom.
He became very violent.
Emotionally.
He would swear at me.
Verbally.
Treat me very badly.
Physically once in a while.
Once he even threw a chair at me.
Were you afraid of Eddie?
Extremely afraid of Eddie.
Eddie's mother, Adele, an interior designer, and his stepfather, Arnie, a computer software engineer, remember all too well how things used to be.
And he would run away for longer and longer periods and would come back more drunk and more violent.
What was your greatest fear?
That he was going to show up dead.
Like Janet Denny in Hawaii and the Richards in Washington State, the Buenos kept their intentions secret and hired transporters to take Eddie to Samoa.
Oh, I was pissed. I felt violated and betrayed, so I was really confused.
There are people out there who are saying, okay, how could you do this to your son?
What's better, to let my son be with strangers who are trying to kill him? He was not under our control at that point of time. He was under control of drug dealers.
After 2 years in the program, Eddie, now 18, believes he is in control.
Why did you change?
Your environment is so controlled that you either sit and rot or you change. If I didn't go to the program, I'd either be dead, in the gutter, or in jail right now.
You really believe that?
Yeah. I remember seeing truly, from my heart, I believe that.
Who is Eddie Bueno today?
I'm a powerful, fun-loving, spiritual young man.
Sound like somebody told you to say that.
No, I told myself to say that.
Good.
It's like the roots of who I am.
Eddie's parents also participated in behavior modification seminars.
Eddie says that everybody's changed. Is he right?
He is right.
Absolutely. The program demands from the parents to go
get involved
through a parallel process that the kid goes through.
I am a powerful, sensitive, wonderful woman.
Let me guess.
I'm a happy, lovable, creative man.
Today, Eddie says goodbye to Spring Creek,
This is it, Jonesy.
and he hopes to his past.
I'm really excited, a little scared like the pressures of society and whatnot.
You said you abused your mom. Now, how are you going to treat your mom now?
Like the queen that she should be.
I'm just so excited that Eddie's coming home tonight. I did not even sleep last night. I'm counting the minutes. I just got him a brand new guitar. He learned how to play guitar in Samoa.
Oh no, mass people here.
So how do you feel to be home?
Feels real good to be home. It's amazing, actually.
With 23 months of behavior modification behind him, Eddie's toughest challenges still lie ahead.
Children seized in the night, taken thousands of miles from home, sometimes confined for days. Is it worth it? That's next.
Hi, I'm John Records Landecker. Mornings on Oldies 104.3 WJNK. Check out Lester, Linda, Steve, and Tim. They're next on News 2 Chicago at 10. Stay tuned.
October 31st, 10 p.m. You're outside the front door. Now, there was good and plenty coming out of that house, and we want to know where they got it.
I don't know. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, you know.
Come on, Pumpkin, use your gourd. You know what happened to the last guy who wouldn't talk? Come on, Jacko, spill your guts.
I already did.
These days, everything's faster. Everything. So how come pain relief isn't faster? Introducing Advil liquid gels. On tough pain, they're stronger and faster than extra strength Tylenol.
New Advil liquid gels. Stronger and faster.
You look awful. Sinus pressure, huh?
You know how Advil handles your tough pain fast? Well, Advil Cold Sinus handles tough sinus pain fast. This is in this, plus a decongestant. That's why they call it Advil Cold Sinus.
I'd like to show you something you're really going to like. 1010-9000. The only number you need to get directory assistance anywhere in America. It's the easiest way to find a phone number. You don't need to know the area code. Who can keep track of them? Just dial 1010-9000, tell the operator whose number you want and where they live. That's it. They find you the number, even offer to dial it for you with no connection charge. It's pretty simple, huh? I thought you'd like it. 1010-9000. Directory assistance for everyone in America.
For 97 years, GMC has designed trucks for people who drove them not because they were trendy, but because their lives depended on them. Heroes who measured a truck by its power and its determination. That heritage lives in the new YUKON DENALI. A luxury SUV with a 255 horsepower V8. It meets the demands of professionals and the standards of history. The YUKON DENALI by GMC.
Why are you all weird? What I long for my son to be is a healthy, productive adult.
6 months after having her son Paul abducted, Janet Denny has no regrets. She says Paul has already made it halfway through the teenage help program in Samoa. Just how long he'll be there, no one knows.
Hang on. Please hang on.
In Snohomish County, Washington, Laurie Berg and her neighbors are still trying to get Paul Richards out of Samoa.
I miss home. I'll be there soon enough.
But the Richards insist their son is doing just fine and sent us this edited tape as proof.
It's fun here, you know. It's sunny.
They are hoping Paul graduates the program before his 18th birthday next June.
I've actually accomplished a lot. I got my driver's license. I got my high school diploma equivalent.
And this fall, Kirsten Bean started college. Her parents remain cautiously optimistic after taking her out of the Jamaica program 7 months ago.
Oh, no, it's nice people here.
Back in San Francisco, Eddie Bueno still is drug-free, working for a collection agency and living at home with his parents. As for Sergio Alva, the demons of Samoa still haunt him.
And I'll wake up sometimes sweating and crying and stuff.
He's planning to file a lawsuit against the Samoa program alleging abuse. And he's not alone. At least 4 others are planning to file suit within the next few months. There are no statistics on the success rate of teen help. In the decades since it began, officials of the program say they don't keep track. Is this the kind of approach that could be right for your child? Whether you see it as behavior modification, emotional growth, or just a big-time attitude adjustment, fundamentally, it remains up to the parents to decide. How troubled are your kids? How desperate are you? And when is tough love too tough? That's 48 hours for tonight. Now, here's a preview of our next broadcast 1 week from this evening. Hate is on the march.
I'd get anything away from the house that's flammable.
Bonnie is fighting to stop it.
Oh, no. We're going to help you, okay?
In a place you wouldn't expect.
Threatening calls, hang-up calls.
Now she and her daughter have become targets.
I don't care about them hating me or whatever. I just want to get on with my life.
Will they be run out of town? You don't feel safe anymore.
No, I don't.
This is just kind of messing things up a lot.
Take a stand, join the Klan.
And who is fanning the flames?
Klan is getting bigger. Aren't you glad you're not a nigger?
I came here to let the Klan know that black people are no longer afraid of them.
Burning Hate, 48 hours, next Thursday. I'm Dan Rather. Thanks for choosing CBS. See you again tomorrow night on the CBS Evening News. Good night.
Tonight on The Late Show, the one and only Jerry Seinfeld, plus a political top 10. But first, your local news.
Next on News 2 Chicago, two major court cases tonight. Frank Caruso Jr. learns his sentence in the racial beating of Leonard Clark. Michael Jordan's known for winning on the court tonight. He is celebrating a win in court. And Dr. Breen's on call with the newest thing in exercise. It's all coming up next on News 2 Chicago.
Your mother told you there'd be days like these. Luckily, there are also days like these. Maytag sale days at Circuit City. Save on all great Maytag appliances, like the Maytag washer that really gets out stains. A dishwasher that virtually eliminates the need for